You're watching Two Button Crew.
The daily show for Nintendo fan.
I'm Scott,
And I'm Simeon,
aka Stud Muffin.
aka Panhead.
I get a lot of friend requests.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so it's good to mention. We should probably just stick those in our descriptions.
Yeah, let's do it. Or even like right along with our names, Simeon, Panhead.
Oh, a little Nintendo Network ID icon.
Mm-hmm.
We've always got the best ideas coming to us, don't we?
Yeah, right in the middle of a shoot.
So,
I almost said show, but then I said shoot. So
shoot?
Shoot.
Welcome to the shoot. Well, speaking of shoots,
Speaking of getting off track, sometimes we need see this?
Don't
Sometimes
draw too
we
much
need a
attention.
guide to guide us along.
like video game guides.
Like a video game guide. What do you guys think of video game guides? What do you think of video game guides? Should we use them?
Like IGN wikis, like GameFAQs, FAQs,
Yes.
Prima guides.
Mm-hmm. Should we use them? Well,
The print
Who
guide
are they
business
for?
must be rough.
it must be. But you know what? I see them and the guides are bigger than ever. Because the games are bigger than ever.
Yeah.
So they must be making some money.
Yeah.
Because I still see them.
They are nice. They'll do like foily, collectors. Maybe the
Oh, yeah.
fact that they're limited is okay
Yeah.
for them. So I just wonder, is it good to use guides or should we try to abstain from them? Personally, I've beaten some games with guides and some without. And my best example that we can really talk through is probably Zelda. So with like Skyward Sword, I beat it with no guide. And I like doing that on the newer Zelda games. And maybe part of that is because the newer Zelda games seem to be better at directing you, lots of instructions.
Right.
You'll have your, like in that game it was Fee. You could call her, pop her out of your sword.
Yeah, what am I doing?
Exactly. I beat Ocarina of Time with a guide. And I did that because my playthrough that I beat Ocarina of Time on finally was like my fourth attempt, and I had tried a couple times on the 64 and like again on Wii Virtual Console, and no, it was more than that because I had even tried on the 3DS one before I came back to it.
Wow.
Like last year. So anyway, the same place that I would get stuck on every time was the Water Temple. So I decided I want to see all of Ocarina of Time because it's the most famous game ever. And I want to see everything. So I'm going to 100% it on my first playthrough, or on this playthrough, and then I'll be done with it.
Yeah.
And I can put it in the old
Absolutely.
grave. So,
I was going to say shelf.
yeah,
But-
put it on the shelf.
Put it in the grave. I don't want to see that sucker again.
So, and then with one more example, Wind Waker, which I'm currently playing through right now with some random TBC bonus streams, is kind of a hybrid because I'm using no guide, but the chat is really helpful whenever I get stuck. So it's sometimes guided, sometimes not.
Right.
So how about you with guide experience?
See, before I go on to my guide experience, I want to comment on that. I see the chat as something different than a guide because I see the chat as like talking to your friends, like getting stuck in a spot and saying, how do you get past such and such, or what's this bossness? Wow, I said the word bossnesses twice. What's this boss's weakness? How do I beat him? So I see that as something different, something as a new version of something.
Oh yeah,
old.
because who wouldn't do that? If we were
Right.
sitting together in front of a TV and then, I was playing and I got stuck and you started saying something, I would not go, bah!
Yeah, I wouldn't be sitting here going, oh, I just want to sit back and watch him play this for a while.
I
and
could get
stew.
used to this.
Yeah, I could get used to this. I want to watch him lose. No. So for me, I like him either way. I think I try and do it first, start off without the guide.
Yeah.
There's some games that I'll play like with a guide all the way through. When I got Pokemon Blue, either then or soon after, I got the guide for it.
Yeah.
And whenever I pick up that game, I pull out that guide, and because I think that's mostly from a compulsion to complete the game 100%. And so oftentimes I'll play through a game like, let's go through Legend of Zelda. I have two examples. Majora's Mask. First time I played through it, I went through with a guide so that I could get everything, get all the fairies, get all the heart pieces, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And then the second time I played through without a guide and tried to 100% it. And Link's Awakening, I played through it the first time without using a guide at all. And then I got stuck at a spot, which is probably... anybody who's played it would probably know it's where they're trying to get to Animal Town, and there's like a sign that says the entrance to Animal Town is in the next screen over, and it'll like point to the direction. And then you go to the next screen over, or it'll say it's right over there. You go to the next screen over, and there's nothing, and you have to chop down a bush that's like randomly there. There's nothing else in that screen, just one bush that you had to chop down. So,
wow.
So when I got stuck, I would pull out a guide and use it.
Yeah.
And I think I got a little bit more dependent on the guide as the game went on. But
Because you had already breached it.
Yeah, I'd already stepped into it. I already knew where some stuff was. I already knew how things were working. I just needed help on direction. And once again, that is a little bit of an older game. I don't know if I'd have that difficulty with something newer like Skyward Sword.
So what are the benefits of not using a guide if you can? I think you're going to have more surprises in the game. And that's probably the main thing. You don't want stuff spoiled. You want to experience things on your own. Mm-hmm. You get more fulfillment and more accomplishment because you think, I figured this out. I am better than this game. I am beating this game. And then also it's more of a fluid experience because you're not pausing and reading all the time.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, I had a funny story to mention real quick. Growing up, my parents lovingly imposed a video game time limit per day. So I could play, and it was long. It was 2 hours. But, since I was homeschooled, I might get done with school at like 11
a.m.
So then I got to spread the 2 hours out throughout the rest of the day. So I was playing Twilight Princess. This came out in 2006. So, I was still at home and everything. I was playing and I got the guide. And I shouldn't have done this, but I would pause my gamer timer to look down at my guide and read it. So I was playing Twilight Princess like 3 hours a day.
Golly. Wow.
I was reading. I'm not playing video games. So I think those are some genuine benefits. You can't really argue with them.
No,
right?
Absolutely not. I think that you hit on probably the main three. More surprises, more fulfillment, and a more fluid experience for not using them.
Right.
And and also to go along with the fluid experience is it's not going to take as much time to play through the game. Usually, if you get lost, then it will. But if you are moving through the game at a steady pace, even if you're not 100%ing it, you're not wasting your time. Now that we're adults,
right?
We're not homeschooled and have all that extra time. We have to worry about our play times because we have jobs or whatever. So we're not looking at the computer screen and our screen. So.
Right. Well, it kind of depends. Because if you're using a guide, it's probably almost always going to be a 100%er guide. Yeah. And then you'll use a lot of time spending that. But if you use a guide to get unstuck, then that's going to quicken the time you're doing on it. So personally, I like to use guides if it's a game that I would not beat otherwise. Yeah. Like, I don't know, Kid Icarus on the NES. Just a ton of the old games are so hard and unforgiving. And I do want to see them. So I will play most older games with a guide if I'm wanting to beat them. Yeah. And it could take a long time if it's just going to be something that I have to figure out. Or if I just get continuously stuck. I don't like that stuck feeling one bit. Either. It's very frustrating for me. So super annoying. I probably enjoy a game more using a guide if it's a super frustrating game. That way I'm not experiencing all those negative emotions. And if I'm, missing out on a couple surprises, I can live with that. So yeah, all those things tend to be older games. I don't mind as much. I just want to see them and experience them. Yeah. How about you?
I see a big area in my use, besides the getting stuck and whatnot, needing to 100%. I get a lot of use out of guides in fighting games. Yeah. Like if I am having a hard time, like, oh man, I think this character sucks, or I kind of want to get the hang of this character, but I know there's more tools here than I'm using. Then I can go online and either watch a video or read a guide and say, oh, this attack has less lag after it, and this one can start up really quick. So these two combo together, and it opens up new opportunities. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oftentimes, I'll play through a game with a guide first, and then without a guide, like Majora's Mask. But I think that they're tools that we should use sparingly. Like a common analogy would be like if you have a really good like fillet knife. Let's say you have a really good fillet knife and it's really sharp.
You're dark.
You are I don't know. It's just a random knife that came to mind, or a bread knife or whatever. And it's a really good knife. It's really sharp and it can cut through a bunch of stuff. But you're not going to use that knife for everything. Like if you get a piece of bread and you have a fillet knife, you could probably cut the bread with the fillet knife, but you're just misusing it. And at that point, it's not enjoyable to cut bread. I don't know. Maybe my analogy breaks down, but I see it as a tool that can be used. If you're a purist and don't use guides, good on you. But
you gotta have the time to do that.
I think that you can say you're a gamer and still use guides and not feel like a sissy or anything like that.
Yeah. And like even if your older brothers make fun of you and stuff, don't worry about it. They had their friends over. They exchanged strategies on the playground.
They had game genies, okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the crew.
Don't forget to like, to comment, to subscribe, to share, and to buy shirts.
Oh, and don't worry. All analogies break down at some point.
Yes, that's
why
true.
they're called analogies.
Exactly.
So, see you next time.
Signing out.